Welcome to Y News. I am Christopher. Here comes the important information. At the annual Warren Buffett shareholders meeting, Vice Chairman Munger used three stupid words for the first time to describe the behavior of the United States, arguing that the United States should get along with China and engage in a lot of free trade with China for the common good. Warren Buffett also supported Munger's view. At the same time, Buffett also made some golden words about the current state of the economy. What are the signals released by this meeting? And what opportunities were revealed? This year's Warren Buffett shareholder meeting has attracted much attention because of the unusual global economic situation, the continuous interest rate hike of the US dollar, coupled with the successive failures of US banks, which has not only caused a huge impact on the United States, but will also bring turmoil to the global economy. In the current complex economic situation, we can see the current economic situation more clearly through the Warren Buffett AGM, and more accurately predict the future investment direction and development trend. Let's take a look at Buffett's revenue for the past year. According to the financial report for the first quarter of 2023, Berkshire Hathaway reported a net profit of $35.5 billion in the first quarter of this year, or about 245.3 billion renminbi, an increase of 550% year-on-year. This figure is higher than Huawei's profit in the first quarter of this year, which makes people admire Warren Buffett's ability to absorb money. Therefore, against the backdrop of a strong dollar rate hike, Buffett's remarks are even more convincing. First, Vice Chairman Munger used three stupid words to describe the current behavior of the United States, and believed that the United States should get along well with China and conduct a lot of free trade for the common good. Warren Buffett echoed Munger's sentiments. This has become the final word on the current U.S. approach. As the U.S. is now strongly raising interest rates while pursuing a massive water release policy, the U.S. economy is facing great difficulties, with bank failures one after another and debt reaching new highs. In addition, Yellen has warned that the U.S. will default in June if the debt ceiling is not raised. More worryingly, legendary investor Druckenmiller, known as the mastermind behind Soros, believes that the actual debt burden of the United States is close to $200 trillion, far exceeding the official debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion, which further fuels the global panic. At the same time, the U.S. is imposing constant restrictions and controls on China's imports and exports, which is adding to its own economic woes. Data show that the total value of China's foreign trade imports and exports in 2022 was 42.07 trillion yuan, up 7.7% year-on-year, with a trade surplus of 5.9 trillion yuan. Among them, China's exports to the U.S. were nearly 3.9 trillion yuan, up 4.2% year-on-year, and imports from the U.S. were 1.1 trillion yuan, up 1.9% year-on-year, resulting in a trade surplus of 2.8 trillion yuan for China. As can be seen, despite the U.S. curbs and restrictions on Chinese product exports, China's exports to the U.S. instead reached another record high. More importantly, the Chinese market is not only an option for the U.S., but also a must, as the U.S. needs a lot of cheap Chinese goods to help offset inflation. Therefore, the U.S. is not only committing suicide by decoupling the U.S. and China, but also accelerating it. As Warren Buffett said, for the common good, the U.S. should conduct a lot of free trade with China, and win-win cooperation is the fundamental way to solve the current problems of the United States. Secondly, regarding the U.S. bank collapse, Buffett also said that it was totally unexpected and said that the situation is likely to worsen from now on. This means that there will be more bank failures in the U.S. in the next few years, and it may develop into a situation that is difficult for the U.S. to control, which means that the financial crisis directed by the U.S. in these years will be better than the financial tsunami in 2008. According to USA Today, the California-based Westpac Consolidated Bank is also at the top of the death list, and is the next bank likely to fail after First Republic Bank. And according to a new report released by Stanford University's Hoover Institution, more than 2,315 of the 4,800 banks in the U.S. are now in an insolvent state. This is in line with Warren Buffett's statement that the wave of U.S. banking failures has indeed had a butterfly effect. The U.S. believes that harvesting wealth fast enough will be able to smooth out the recession. But in doing so, I'm afraid it will only make the world's capital away from the United States is more and more distant. The process of global de-dollarization will only get faster and faster. This is where Buffett's concerns about the future of the US economy. At the same time, Buffett also mentioned that the economy's incredible surge period is ending, and most business earnings are expected to be lower in the future. This is more than enough to illustrate Buffett's concern about the US economy and his lack of optimism about the future economy. Then in this economic situation, Buffett also gave an opinion. He said that investors who pay special attention to value will get a chance when others make bad decisions, because what gives you a chance is that others are doing stupid things. The implication is that the US is doing something stupid right now, causing global asset prices to plummet, and now is the time to plunge into quality assets. It seems that Warren Buffett this time is the most objective judgment of the US economy and its behavior. The last thing I want to say is that whether the United States is doing something stupid or playing with fire, this current US approach will only make the US recession come harder and the global de-dollarization speed up a bit. For China, externally, the world is now accelerating cooperation with China. Using the yuan settlement of international trade, China's international status is further improved. Internally, China is increasing its efforts to develop domestic demand. Based on China's huge population base, the development of China's economy this year will still achieve steady growth. And all of this, of course, thanks to the stupid things that the US has done. What do you think?